G'day, Aussie bonsai bloke, here you go. Today, going to be working on me, well, it's a surprise actually. I was just about to tell you, I forgot that I was going to do it as a surprise. And I was just about to tell you. Anyway, it's a mystery tree that I'm going to work on. And if you guys click on it, you'll get to see it. If not, well, I guess if you clicked on it, you're already here, aren't you? Sam, you idiot. Right, so I'm not even going to put a photo on the thumbnail. I'm just going to put mystery tree. And then maybe have a picture of the empty turntable, nothing on it. Nothing on it. And you would have already seen that, so I don't even know why I'm saying that. But anyway, this is Adrian Eggleton's turntable. As you can see, massive solid thing. I think a 250 kilo bearing. If you had 4 of these, you could literally park a car on. So massive, massive thing. He custom makes it, whatever size tree you want. Check him out, Adrian Eggleton. He also made the signs, so you can make custom signs. Cut all that out. Got a laser cut. I'll just show you his details. Really should learn how to put a link below in the details, in the description of the video, but there you go. Check him out. He's got a Facebook page, internet website. Pretty sure it's up and running now. At one stage, I don't think he'd quite finished it and he couldn't click onto things, but I'm pretty sure it's good now. So that's, I'll put that up here. Alright. Another thing I was going to do, in the last video I showed the 2 mowers, and I was going to tack it onto a video where I worked on a bonsai and do a bit of mowing. Show the old beast at work. Oh, by the way, I'm just having a coffee, still in the morning. Yeah, show the old beast working. Then I thought, nah, you know what? If you're not interested in lawns or mowing and you don't really want to see it, I'm not going to tack it onto this video. And if you do want to see it, easy. It's going to be on its own separate YouTube video. So there might be some people that love lawns and don't love bonsai that click on it, who knows. Might get some different people looking at it. But if you guys want to jump across and look at the mower go, it'll be much appreciated. So that's going to be probably the next video, uploaded after this one. So I've already done 4, I'll do 5, 6. I've got another probably 100 trees to work on, so I won't run out of stuff to do anyway. Always stuff to do. Right, let's get this tree, this mystery tree. Okay, get ready. I'm getting something that's going to test out his turntable. That's a heavy tree. I might have to, because it's so high in the pot. Look, even the cracks pot. Too early in the morning for stumbling me words. Even the pot is cracked under the weight of this tree. Just chucking it down somewhere, it must have cracked out. So anyway, I'm going to bring it up in the air a bit more because it's not really working out down where you are now, because you're actually well and truly lower than the top of the pot there. So it's going to be hard for you guys to see much. Okay, so that is a mystery tree. Pretty massive, isn't it? Anyway, I've done a carving video on this one before, so you have seen it before. It's just that I wired it out and I haven't worked on it since. To be honest, this is going to be a real bloody crackpot of a video because you guys won't see it, but I've got a heap of wire, and you know how much I hate taking off wire. Absolutely, it's the pits, mate, the pits. Absolutely sucks. I hate taking off wire. That's why you notice in a lot of my new videos, I'm not putting on much wire anymore because I get so sick of taking it off and get so lazy that it does more bloody harm than good. I'll still wire out the structural branches, but I'm not going to be going to tertiary or secondary or tertiary branches or out to the tips at all. I'm just going to be wiring the primary branches in place, and even then all I did was with this olive was wire out the primary branches, and I still was too lazy to take the wire off. So you know, I'm just going to get the wire off and leave the cutting marks, because the olive actually does get rid of them over time, and I plan on keeping this tree for, well, the rest of my life probably. So it's got maybe 50 years, depending on how much of a hard time I give my health, but maybe 50 years it's got to get rid of the wire marks, and I think it'll well and truly do that. Probably only take 4 or 5 years really to get rid of the wire marks, which is nothing. That's a blink of an eye in bonsai. So anyway, first job, right? Ah, damn it. Almost got that dirt in my coffee cup. Thing had a good root system. First job, less weed. You'll notice this with all my trees. That's another pet hate. I hate weeding, but I enjoy weeding more than I like taking off wire, because that's the pits, mate. Like I said, that's the pits. If you can find a kid down the road, wants a bit of pocket money, you can pay him to take your wire off for you. My kids don't want to do it, so looks like I'm stuck doing it. Yeah, just cut the wire off, unwind it, whatever. But anyway, enough talking about the wire. Let's get into weeding this. Nearly finished weeding it. So yeah, I'm going to have a mowing video up next after this one. And then I'm going to work on some other trees. I've got a couple other olives that are similar state to this. Need the wire off, need a bit of a trim. Some of these, I don't know, I guess before I've decided to change my method and grow everything upright, some of these trees actually have the branches wide out horizontal, which I'm not overly fond of anymore. I've changed sort of my way of thinking. I like more upright branching, even in the primary branching, and I've wired these out quite horizontal, so we'll deal with it, you know, like the rest of the branches. When I cut them, I'll choose all the ones growing up, and eventually it's going to fill in anyway and not be such an eyesore. So in the short term, could be a bit of an eyesore, and I'm not willing to cut all these side branches off and regrow the upward ones. The upward ones are gonna, you know, grow anyway, and it's gonna fill in anyway, so it's alright. It'll be alright. I didn't do them completely horizontal. As I got further up the tree, I did make them go up more, so it won't be too bad. Right, so the first job will be to trim. Now, when I wired this, I actually wired it with the branches longer than I wanted them to finish, because I wanted some taper. So I actually wired long branches out quite a long way. You can see this one out here. There's no way I'm going to trim it out here and keep all of that. I'm going to be cutting them back pretty hard. So rather than waste time trying to cut the little branches first, I'm going to try and work out where I want to cut the big branches to, and that'll get rid of some of the wire and a lot of the branching, and you'll be able to see the structure better. But a bit of a dilemma, some of it I used is actually strong copper wire out of a cable, which is unannealed, pretty sure. It does look like aluminium. I could be wrong. There's got to be some copper, surely. Could be all aluminium. Well, that'll be alright. Aluminium. I'm happy to cut through aluminium with my snips, but the copper wire that comes straight out of an electrical cable, or any copper wire for that matter, especially in the stronger gauges, is no good for the snips. But I'm happy to cut aluminium with my snips, and I can sharpen it if I have to. Okay, so basically what I'm doing, okay, let's find the front. Hello, what you got? What you got? You got a stick? You can go play with it. Yeah. Come up here. Stop. Good boy. Say hello. Say hello, Leo. Say hello. So basically I carved this and then set the branching, I think all in the one video. I can't remember. You guys might remember. Another crack in the pot here. I can't remember, but anyway, basically I'm going to have a main tree here, and then I'm going to have a secondary, sort of like little tree off this secondary trunk here. And I'm happy to have a front branch at the front. Hello, watch out, you nearly hit my snips, Papa. Hi. It's a bit of a tangled up mess, isn't it? Alright. So basically, there's long straight sections, and I don't want to keep all the growth that's long and straight like that. So I don't want to keep that long straight growth, so I'm cutting it off to where there's a bend. And see, I've cut straight through that wire. But it is aluminium. It does cut pretty easy. I'll just try and demonstrate without the, see if it focuses. Okay. So it does cut through it pretty easy. You can see aluminium. Okay. So these are stainless steel, so stainless steel will win hands down over aluminium every time. So basically, just cut back to whatever you think is more interesting. So if you've got a long straight section which is not very interesting, just chop it off, because if it's not interesting now, unless you put some wire in it, which I'm not willing to do anymore, as I've said, it's never going to be interesting. So chop off the long straight sections. Okay, so that's that. Okay, we come to the back. I'm just chopping off the ones I've wired at the moment. We'll chop some more later. And you'll notice too, I don't care whether the ones that I chop, it's hard to show you in detail because I want to show you the whole tree as I work on it. But then when I have a detailed shot like this, but basically what's going on here is instead of it forking out horizontal, it's forking out up and down. Now I could cut back one further and have horizontal forks, but I actually don't mind having a few vertical and down, you know, up and down forks, and then letting them grow, because that fills in, gives the tree more fullness, I reckon. So anyway, that's my theory on the matter. Could be wrong, time will tell. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that just scoffed at what I just said. That's fine, that's their opinion. Okay, here we've got a straight section. I'm going to cut back. That bit of wire I didn't have to cut off, eh? Bloody beauty. Bit of a straight section. I think I left it so long on purpose, maybe just to see, maybe just to let the branches get out into the sunlight so they all got a bit of light, I think. Otherwise I couldn't tell you why I've left them all so long. So I'm going to cut them all back pretty short and then let it ramify from there. That'll be my plan. And like I say, I'm only cutting the ones with wire on, but there's plenty others that I'll cut off in a second. And then I'll work my way around the tree a lot better. But I'm just getting rid of the bulky, uglier, straighter ones for now. And if there's a section here where it's really bitten in hard and it's a reasonably uninteresting section, I'm just going to cut it off rather than try and unwind the wire, because unwinding wire out of a section that you've cut back, do you even know what you're saying, Sam? Unwiring a section of the branch that's really cut in is actually quite difficult. You've got to be really careful. So maybe don't let the kid down the road unwire it for you if you've let it bite in too much, because it is quite difficult, and you can completely ring bark the whole tree and end up with that whole branch just dying off. So here's a straight ugly branch. What I was thinking there, I don't know. Up and down, vertical branch, kept that. I've already chopped that one. Come up the top more. Chop some of these long ones back here to something a bit more interesting. It's pretty ugly. And being young, well, the tree's not young, but because it's come out of the ground not long ago, it's got a lot of vigour. And what happens when it's got a lot of vigour and it's just come out of the ground is where it's got the main shoot and then a bud on either side, because they shoot from the same spot. They're not alternate, they're parallel leaf pattern, I guess you could say, or branch pattern. So what would happen, I'll just cut off a piece that has, well, there's some on the ground here. Okay. Okay, so what happens is that one? Okay, well, this is what a weaker one does, right? A weaker one, what it'll do is it'll shoot out alternately, but there is actually a bud on the other side. But when you have a really strong shoot, which this one does pretty well, is pretty strong, what'll happen, you'll get the main middle one and then the ones either side growing. You get 3 from each location. Same here, 3 at the end, 3, the main one, and then even up to 4 or 5. But these spots you'll get at least, quite often you'll get at least 3. As the plant matures and slows down, it's been in a pot for a while and it gets used to the pot environment, you'll find you won't push out those 3 anymore, and it'll be a lot easier to keep looking after your tree without having all these extras pushing out all the time that you have to then cut it back to 2. You'll find it a lot easier just to look after it, and pretty much then you just cut everything short, you know, that short, ready for the next year or the next growing flush, and it'll just shoot out 2 from each spot, and you don't have to, you know, pay so much attention to cutting it back to 2 to each location. But at the moment I've got a lot of areas in here where it's shot 3 from each location, so I'm going to have to be pretty particular about getting in there and cutting at least one of those shoots off, because you only ever want 2 from each location, especially when it's young like this. If I was to leave 3 on a skinny shoot, so here's another one here. If I'm to leave 3 on this skinny shoot, what's going to happen, these are going to really shoot out, and you're going to end up with an inverse taper knuckle here. So what you got to do is got to chop one off, go in there, chop one off so that you only have 2. Then you'll cut this back, okay, and then you've got 3 here, so you've got to choose, okay, I want the stronger one. So you could cut that one off, keep the stronger one, cut it here. You can keep those two, or you can even cut that back short and it'll reshoot out here at a better angle, because that was pretty square. And you can see here, now you've got only 2 from each spot anywhere, not 3. So that's what you have to go through and do. Anything that you leave on the tree, you've got to make sure it's only 2. Whew, I put some pants on thinking it would be quite cool today, because yesterday was hot. It's windy, but it's not really that cool. So yeah, pretty hot. Yeah, just getting rid of some of these uglier branches. I think I'll keep you alive for most of the trimming. You can fast forward if you like, up to you. If you stay with me, good. If you don't, well, I don't blame you, because I'm just doing a lot of trimming here. Okay, so I think I've got rid of all the bits with wire. The reason I want to do that is because then I'm going to use my scissors, and I don't want to cut any wire with these scissors because these have got a really fine edge. So yeah, I just want to get rid of, shorten all the wire ones for now. It's an ugly top up here. I don't know what I was thinking when I did that. You know, tops develop themselves. You don't need to wire a branch in a big S zigzag pattern, because you'll find that just chopping it, they grow into a good top just on their own. You don't even need to try to make a good top. So I don't know what I was thinking there. Quite often trees make themselves, you know, that's what I'm starting to realise. You don't need to try and wire everything into certain positions. They make themselves just by cutting them back short and letting them regrow. Initially you can let the first main branch go really long so you get a fat base, but then still cut it back short. And you'll find if you cut that short, then cut all the new shoots short, the trees almost make themselves. I'm not joking. They do a really good job at just making themselves. You don't need to, don't need to be on them, wiring them all the time. You can just sort of trim them in the right direction. Okay, so the main primary branches, I do suggest that you wire them in the direction you want them to go, but you don't have to. And then after that, I honestly think it gives you a much more natural, better looking tree, not wiring it after that, but I don't know. A few years ago I would have shot myself for saying that, because I believed that you had to keep wiring them all out all the time, just a few years ago. So my opinion over time's changed. I'm sure another couple of years I'll give you a different opinion, but for now that's what I'm rolling with. Go. So right, let's get to this one. So now all I'm going to do is I've chosen all the shoots. I'm going to cut it back to 2 from each location. So here's the inside one. Now I'll cut the other 2 short. Inside one gone. Now it's going to be a long video, so like I say, if you want to fast forward you can. There was 3 from that location, got rid of 1. I'll start on one side and work my way around and just try and knock it back to 2 shoots from each location. The bottom you want to choose the stronger 2 shoots, or the ones growing in the right direction. Probably direction takes precedent over size, but then if you've got 2 going in the right direction, cut it back to the bigger one when you're down the bottom. Up the top, generally cut it back to the weaker one, unless you're really on the apex and you want to just fatten that apex up a little bit. So here, same thing, just cutting back all the unnecessary shoots where it's back butted inside itself. And like I say, once you've had them in training for a while, they'll stop back butting like this. Okay, here's an ugly branch, get the other snips out on it. So it looks like I didn't quite get them all. Sorry if you can't can't see every snip I do here, but you'll get the general idea. Go, a couple from the base down here. Don't need them. I've got low enough branches on here already, I don't need to keep the lower ones that are shooting from the base. And also to choose the two that you want to keep. If there's three in one location, another way to, to eliminate, if there's on the inside of a bend, if you've got the branch bent like that, there's a shoot coming this way and a shoot going that way, always cut the one off on the inside and take the one on the outside. It looks a lot more natural. Even here, you probably can't see, I've got a tiny little shoot on the outside here and a bigger shoot on the middle, but I'm still going to opt to take the middle shoot out and let it shoot on the outside, because to have a branch shooting inside like that is just really ugly, so I'll eliminate that now. Okay, that branch is done, that branch is done. Let's move our way up here. Okay, you don't need to be over fussy about all this, because if you stuff something up, they grow pretty quick anyway. So just keep short buds. About, anywhere from 1 to 2 centimetre long shoots. Like I said in the last video, if you can't go by the rule of only one internode length when you're doing olives, because the internode length's that close that you basically it would look like it come out of the same location. But I explained that in the last video, so go back to that one if you missed it. But yeah, I'm cutting anywhere from the 1st to the 5th internode really. And yeah, just chopping them back to 2 shoots. You can see all the chopping you have to do, because there are a lot of areas where 3 came out, and that's what I'm saying. When you first start styling an olive that's been collected out of the ground, and it's got all this energy resources in the trunk. When I say first collected out of the ground, this actually has been in a pot for 3 years. Could be 3 years. I collected this nearly 3 years ago on a bit of a collection trip, and then I put it into a pot, believe it or not, bigger than this one. Then after it's recovered from that, I think it was a kid's swimming pool, one of those shells. I had it in that, and then that rotted out, so I had to repot it again, and I put it into this pot. And it's been in this pot for a good 1.5 years now, probably. Maybe even 2 years, because I reckon that shell only lasted about 1 year and then it just cracked apart. Yeah, they're good, those shells, for short term, but long term they just crack apart. That's alright. Did its job. So yeah, so it's still really got a lot of vigour, even now, 3 years later. But you'll see that once you put it into a smaller pot, bonsai pot, and it starts restricting the growth a bit, the roots hit the side of the pot and start to fill in, don't have anywhere to go. They say that, if the roots start to ramify by hitting the pot and running out of room, that's when your top starts to ramify more and more. And it slows down, and you won't get all these 3 shoots from one location, you'll only get 2. Rarely you'll have to go in there and select 2 shoots, because there was 3 shooting out, whereas at the moment pretty much every branch has stuff shooting from the base and shooting from everywhere. So yeah, this has been an epic day or 2 so far. I'll plan on doing some more in the next few days, more videos, thrashing them out while I'm on holidays. Mrs. is still at work, so she's not home to tell me to go inside and help her with something. But I did have to cook bloody lasagna last night for tea, that one sucked. But anyway, we dealt with it. We still got 4 videos done. Oh shit. Just put a mark in my snips because I cut some wire. Got carried away. Talking, cut some wire. Once again, 3 from one location. Take it back to 2 from each location. Here's one going straight down into the middle of the crown. Take that one off. Opt for the taller one. Here we've got a pretty ugly looking branch. I'm going to take it right off. It's got like a slow S bend. I don't like it. And that's another thing about wire. I think you're starting to realise now that I'm starting to hate wire. But if you put a bend in a branch, it's just this slow, especially if it's a bigger branch, it's just this slow S-bend type thing. There's no really acute angle. Whereas if you clip and grow like this, you get really, really nice acute angles everywhere. It makes it look way more natural. Way more believable as a tree. Just cut through some more wire with my snips, that's silly. I see it there, but I just snip anyway. I don't know what's wrong with me. So you can see it's being reduced pretty well. It's really concentrating on getting only 2 because I'd hate to have 3 from one location, develop all that branching, then realise that it's getting a knuckle and then have to cut it all off later. Better off getting in there now, cutting it back now. Here's another ugly top that I made, get rid of that. It can go just that slow S. In fact, I'll cut back further because there's a big straight section here that just looks ugly. Ugly as. It'll regrow. And then next time I get to trim it, I'll look forward to it because it'll just simply be trim it, which to me is the funnest job. I love trimming, especially for shape, choosing your branches and stuff. But next time I'll be able to trim it without having to worry about wire, because it won't have any wire on it. Getting up to 5 shoots from some locations. That one had nearly 5, I reckon. Just really concentrate on knocking it back to 2. And the main branch counts as 1, by the way, so if you've got the main branch, you can only have a single side branch or secondary branch coming off that. You cannot have one on either side because that's classed as 3. The only time you allow 3 is when you've got a big trunk like this, and you can obviously see there's one here, one here, one here, one here, and they're all on the same plane. So there's actually 4 branches, 5 branches, technically coming from the one spot, but because it's around the trunk and the trunk's so big, you know, that's no dramas at all. I wouldn't worry too much about that. You don't need to go one over here, one there, one at the top, one up there, because then there's not enough branching on the tree and it just looks stupid. You end up with basically a ladder tree, what I call a ladder tree, because you have one branch wide out here, another one wide out here, another one there, maybe one at the back like that, another one here, another one here, another one at the back, and then the top. And you have all these big planes of area in between these pads, and then people put them out dead flat. And literally you can put your hand through there. This one now, even though I said I wired it out fairly horizontal, it is actually coming up, as you can see. And even now you can't put your hand in there without hitting something. And that's how it should be. Trees naturally grow like that. They say a bird should be able to fly through, but not a big bird. Trees generally are for the little birds to hide in, away from the big birds. You know, things, maybe allow a finch to fly through, not a bloody eagle. Eagles go and sit on the top of a dead tree, not fly through the middle of a nice green alive tree. So yeah, lots of shoots, lots of branching, especially on big trunks like this. You want lots of branching. Just adds to the fullness of the tree. Makes it look nice. Chop that one off. Chop this one off here. You just get so many shoots from the base of where your branches come out, and you just have to go through and just keep cutting them off, because when it's got so much bigger like this thing, it just shoots so many shoots out everywhere. I'm not even sure how long ago I did that video, but I reckon it was Christmas holidays maybe. It might have only been 3 months ago that I did that video on this thing where I carved it out. I don't know if I called it epic carve video or some sort of carve video. Can't remember. And then you'll notice too, it looks really juvenile because on the bottom crutches of all of these little twigs coming out, there's leaves. Well, if you really wanted to, you could go through here and pull the little leaves out the crotches, then just have them on the end, and then it makes it look a little bit more mature. But at this early stages, it's fine. I'm happy to leave all that and just leave it look like that. It gives the tree more energy to shoot back out, and once those leaves get about 2 or 3 years old, they'll actually turn yellow and drop off anyway. So, you know, for the sake of a bit of time, one, I think it helps the tree to leave it on for a while, and two, just for the sake of all the time, eventually you get the same result anyway, because they drop off after they get a few years old, and it just keeps the new leaves. So I don't go in there and clean up too much. The only way I clean it up, the leaves on the inside, is when I'm going to wire out the main. So these leaves on the inside, see, it's 4 from one location again. Oh, that one's technically 2, I'll leave that. What was I saying? The only time that I clean up the inside of all the crutches everywhere and pull out all the leaves is when I'm going to wire the branches, because then it makes it a lot easier to wire. If you don't do it before you wire, it's going to be pretty hard. Okay, so we're just going through 5 shoots at the base of this one. Just got to methodically just keep going in there and just cutting. And I'm sure there'll be ones that I miss. It's bound to happen, because I'm probably going to have to cut 200 or 300 off here anyway. And I'm bound to miss something. And even where there's only 2 shoots from one location, if it's a fair way back on a main branch, if it's a fair way back inside of a main branch near the trunk, and you've got your thick branch and then it divides out, if you get another shoot here, technically you've still only got 2. But to keep it looking more mature and keep that branch fat, I just opt to cut that one off, because you want to see the structure of the main branch and you don't want to have another little shoot hanging off of it. That's just me. This thing really did grow well this summer. It's just gone nuts. I can't even get in. That's how many branches I've left on this thing. I can't even get in there. Right, I'll try and hammer through it a bit faster. I'm babbling on a bit here. Let me know whether you want me to ramble on while I do it, you want me to hyperlapse, or you want me to just work and shut up. I can do that too. I don't have to keep talking. I just feel like if you're watching it live, it'd be a bit silly just watching me trim and not explaining every cut that I do. So I just sort of basically talk my way through every cut and just ramble along. So I'm just cutting them all, like I say, into the right internode lengths, getting rid of anywhere where there's more than 2 shoots. Any shoots at the base, gone. It's all pretty simple. If you keep those few rules, so nothing at the base, no 3 from any location. If you got 3, cut the one that's going to the inside off. they're both in a good, if all three are in a good position, cut the skinniest one off at the bottom, keep the two fattest at the top, keep the skinny ones. Pretty much, if you keep to that, and then keep the internode length to an inch to an inch and a half, you can't really go wrong. It's pretty much all I'm doing here. There's nothing else to working on it really, and I'm not worrying about where the branch is really going, apart from where I've got three. If one of them's shooting into a bit of an area where there's a big gap, I'll opt to keep that one. But I'm not even caring about the outside silhouette of the tree. As you can see, I've got a longer branch up the top, although I probably will cut that back, but I'm not creating a pool. I'm just chopping everything back to what each individual branch needs to chop it back, and not worrying about the silhouette of the tree at the moment. Here we've got another long straight boring section that's gone. Okay. Yeah, don't worry too much about the outside silhouette. Like I said before, the tree actually sort of works itself out. If you just keep cutting everything back short, you'll get your stronger areas, your weaker areas, and it will actually create interest on its own without you having to go in there and choose the direction of the tree for it. You let the tree tell you the story, and basically use what it gives you. If you fight against it, you'll probably get a slower process to get a tree, and you fought against the tree the whole time, and it'll probably take longer. And I don't know about the outcome, who knows. Very hard to get in some of these spots. I hope you can see it is cleaning up. If you look at that compared to what it was, it is starting to clean up. Stay there. Cut it back to 1 inch shoot. Cut it back. 3 from one area, cut one off, keep the other one. Keep working up the top here. Inside branch off, keep the outside, keeping the one going up there, chopping off the one going down. I want it to go up. Chop these two back to 1 inch or so. Chop that base bud off, or base branch off. Don't need more than the two that are already at the top. Like I say, these things shoot out massive amount of branches to start with, which is really good because you get a lot to choose from. Base branch off, base branch off. That one there is actually out nearly 1 inch off that branch, so I'm going to keep that little stub. That'll contribute to the apex. Got another wide out branch here that looks pretty ugly, so I'm going to cut that off. You might hear the wind outside the shed. It's really starting to rip through now. Quite windy, still hot in here. I do have all these halogen lights going, which is pretty warm. Okay, you can see this dumb branch here. It really looks quite ugly. I'll keep. I was debating on cutting it back here because there's like an S-bend back there. I do want to keep something. I reckon I'm going to cut it right back to here. It's going to create a big gap, but there's a branch back here which will take over pretty quickly, especially being the apex with all the sun that it gets. Plus, means I don't have to unwire that branch. If you don't want to unwire it, chop it off. Not really, just joking. It actually is pretty ugly. Okay, so we're getting down to having the main tree done. If I miss one or two branches here, it's not the end of the world. I can do it next time. Hopefully it'll be a little bit more open. Or while I'm unwiring, I can also go in there and take some of that out. Where there's 3, if I find some more, which I will, I guarantee that I would have missed some. And I can go in there and take it out while I'm unwiring as I see more and more. Just chopping them back short to 1 inch. You can see we're getting there. Been a long video. I'm just going to check, because yesterday I had some memory thing pop up. Okay, so no memory thing popped up, but I did restart the video anyway. Okay, getting down to the business end. So the main tree is pretty much done. And you can see, I've actually left some branches longer at the top, short at the bottom, and then longer out here. And that, when it fills in, if I keep cutting it like that, back to 2, you know, short 1 inch nodes everywhere, because that's sort of where the interest finished, and then it was straight. If I keep cutting it back like that, it's naturally going to end up with a bush here, a little bit of a cut in, but still quite nice, and then another bush sort of out the bottom. So it creates some interest on the outside still of the tree, rather than just being a straight ball. Completely symmetrical. It'll have a few cutouts and cuttings and create more interest. The absolute best example of having it sort of canopy go everywhere and creating interest is probably that mallee tree that I styled, which probably is up on the net by now, I'd say. It is uploading off the computer as we speak, but I think it might be nearly done. I don't know whether it's everyone home on coronavirus, but it seems to be taking a long time to upload right now, which I guess is not the end of the world, because I've got plenty of other stuff I can do while I wait, and it doesn't hold up my camera, so it's all good. Okay, so chopping these back short, 2 shoots any one location. I know I've said that 100 times already, but I've got to keep drilling it in. I could say this 100 times. Go and have a look at someone's tree that's been watching me, and they'll leave 3 from one location. Just chop them off. Don't be scared. Don't be scared to cut your tree. Well, I think every time you do, you know, definitely changes it, but you know, that's part of developing it. And every time you cut one off, well, it improves it, hopefully. Unless you make the wrong cut, but then, you know, especially on this tree, there's that many shoots, it'll just regrow anyway. Got some shoots in there off the main trunk itself. It's got weeds growing out of there as well. Whoops, just broke a branch off with me ring. I'm getting there. I know it's been a long video, guys. Hang in there. We're getting close. Right. Let's see how quick I can get this done. Let's go super style. I'll probably start something up now to take the face butt off. 3 here. Keep the outside one, not the inside one. Face butt off. Chop it back to 1 inch. Chop it back to 1 inch. 1 inch. 1 inch. 1 inch. 1 inch. Face bud. Face bud. 1 inch. 1 inch. The base bud cut off. Or base branch. 1 inch. 1 inch. 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. And look at that. Amazing when you stop talking and just start working semi. Oh yeah, there's a few more here, 1 inch, 1 inch. Okay, 3 from that location. Now, okay, we've got a bit of a dilemma here. There's 3 from this location, 2. I'm going to cut 1 of 2. Well, there's actually 4. I'm going to cut 2 of those off. We've got a bit of a dilemma here. Okay, what it is, we got the back branch here that we've already sort of pushed out that way, but there's been a base shoot here, which is actually in a pretty good spot to then get some branching and ramification out the front. So I'm going to opt to cut this old one off that I've styled, even though it's got good branching starting to happen. I'm going to cut that one off so that we don't have 3 from one location. Don't know if you can see. So we've got this back one here, the main one, and then the new front one that's growing. I'm going to opt to cut this back one off because the front one's in a better location for the front, and this back one's got these short ones coming off further up, which will then mean that you've only got 2 from any location. But now, instead of only having the back branch and nothing at the front, we're going to have something at the front as well. So this is the little one that I chopped off. Plus, as you can see, more wire that we didn't have to worry about getting rid of. Yeah. Beauty. Okay, so I'm just going to cut that back short, let it divide and ramify on its own. I can cut it back, you can see the leaves, I can either cut it back to 2 side shoots. Pretty much which way the leaf is growing on an olive, and most broadleaves for that matter, is where the shoot will come out. So I've got an up and a down leaf here, side leaf here, which I think is too close to the main trunk back here. So I'm not going to go with that one. The up and down one here I could go with. Further out I could chop it back to 1 from one side, 1 from the other. Might be the option. But I'm actually going to chop it back 1 further. So I've got an up and a down one. And that'll help give it a bit more fullness and fill it in a bit better back there. Anyway, that's just the way I do things. I like to have variation of up and down branching and horizontal. I know if you go to a club, everyone in the club, because they keep relaying the same message, everyone in the club, horizontal, horizontal, flat pads, flat pads, flat pads, branch, side branch, side branch, back branch, side branch, side branch, back branch. Can you see that anywhere here? Look at the thing, it's just completely covered in branching. And I hope you agree, apart from where I forgot to cut some. It's actually starting, even though the branches are quite small and short, it's actually starting to get some good, just chop something off that's pretty ugly here. It's actually already starting to get some good fullness to it, even though it's got small branches on, because it's got so many branches. So you can see that, it's getting there. Okay, also don't like this top one up here, that can come off. Also try not to, like there's one sticking out here, but it's still got reasonable ramification and stuff. Try not to look at it like a straight line and then start chopping everything off from the top here so that it evens up with this, because then you will end up with an even symmetrical tree. Try to create some of this in and out type, I guess you could say pads, but the whole thing will be a range of different sort of canopies at different heights. So yeah, that's it. It would be really cool to do an olive like that mallee style, but you could never pull up olive branches like that and then chop them together because they're just too solid. Even without the wire on, it would be pretty hard. Maybe when they were really young you might be able to But that would be cool too, to have a mallee style olive where you just pull them all up, have a few different heights and canopies. That'd look pretty cool. But for this one, this is going to be it. You can see this nice carve job I did in it. All this fine carving. Secondary trunk here, or secondary here and tertiary trunk down here. So there's actually 3 trunks. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it's going. It's pretty much it for the trimming for today. I'll probably find a little bit more stuff, but generally, if you look at it now, there's no basil shoots, or water shoots. Some people call them water shoots. I call them a bit of everything, but sometimes water shoots, sometimes back buds, back shoots, whatever you want to call them. They're pretty much all gone, and it's pretty much only 2 from any location. There is some that I've missed. Here's one where there's 3. Chop it off. Here's another one where there's 3. Chop the inner one off. Okay, you look around, there'll be more, because you know I've had to cut a good couple hundred shoots off here, so you're going to miss 1 or 2. As long as you try to get rid of most of them, that's the main thing. There's a couple of, we'll leave that one. Another shoot you already cut off, another shoot here. These are the shoots I missed while I was trying to go hyper speed, and all I did was look like a fumbling idiot trying to snip and then missing the branches, so maybe I won't try that again. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So now I'm going to get on to taking the wire off. I'm going to do that off camera. It's actually, because I think it was only 4 months ago, it's not too bad. I think I can unwind a lot of these branches without having to be overly careful, because I haven't actually cut in that bad. So you can see here, I wind a few off while you're live, and then I'll just do it off camera, the rest of it, because it'd be pretty, it's boring for me to unwind it. It must be really boring to watch it. That's what I reckon anyway. So here we've got, you can use your wire cutters just to grab the wire to pull it out, so you can unwind it. Okay, and then you can get to it to unwind it. I alternate between unwinding and cutting. If you get to a tight spot where it's not going to be easy to unwind and you risk damaging the tree, I cut it. Okay, then I'll pull it out with my snips and my wire cutters. I'll grab it, sort of half cut through, grab it, pull on it. Then I've got a bit of leverage again to be able to keep unwinding. Then I get to a spot like here, I don't know how well you can see that, but I get to a spot like here and it's fairly well cut in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just cut through the wire, pull the wire off, cut through the next loop up. Okay, and now that actually clears where it was bitten in pretty hard. I don't know whether you can see that too well, but that was bitten in really hard back there. I'll show you on the close-ups, and it's best off to snip those bits rather than try and unwind them, because if you try and unwind them, you can break the bark clean off it and ring bark it. So there's other bits here. You'll find where you had the strongest growth will be where it bites in the most. But in general, this is not too bad. But I'll show you some of it after where it has bitten in. So that's about it. Cut it, wind it off, get the bloody stuff off however you can without damaging the tree. I try not to leave too much wire in the pot. I don't think it affects the tree leaving wire in there, especially aluminium, but I try not to leave it in the pot just in case. There is a myth around that if you've got copper wire and leave it in the pot, it can cause trouble, but I don't think it does. But I still try not to do it. here, I'm going to have to cut it off. Here, it's actually dug into a point that I can't get my snips in there to cut it. So I'm going to have to unwind it. So what I'm going to do there, grab it with my snips, unwind it to a point where I've got a little bit of leverage, and just carefully unwind it around the tree, really carefully. Unwind it without ring barking it. You have to unwind it and pull it out exactly in line with where it's cut in, because if you do it at a bit of an angle, it'll rip that bark off so easy. Like, I might have made that look reasonably easy, but in my younger years when I kept trying to unwire, I made such a mess trying to unwire trees and ring barking branches because I was a little bit careless about how I was doing it, and I wasn't pulling it in the exact direction and keeping the pressure off the bark, and they'd just rip it clean off. But anyway, you'll learn. Once you rip a few bits of bark off, that's how you learn. And if you do it at the base, the problem is it happens generally on the base of a tree, because that's where you get most sap flow. It'll generally happen on the base of a tree, and generally happen on the strongest branch and the best branch on the low point, and you'll be really upset because it'll kill that whole branch off and you'll have to regrow a whole bottom branch. That's why wiring is quite a dangerous thing. If you've got too many jobs on, or too many trees, you may be better off not wiring too much. Like I say, I only try to wire the primary branches now when I'm first setting up structure, but I'll probably never wire this tree again. This will be it. It's only had one wire in its whole life, just to set the structure, and that's it. We'll never get another wire again. Everything will be clip and grow from now on. Just wire to set the main structure. Anyway, that's enough. Enough rambling on. I'm sure you're sick of me by now. I'll give you a spin at the end and show you a few close-ups of the wire marks and stuff. Otherwise, pretty much done. No worries, I'll catch you at the end. Okay guys, got all this bloody wire off. Really happy. Made the kid down the street get it off for me. No, in all honesty, it wasn't too bad because a lot of these were pretty short, so it's pretty easy to get to. But when you do the secondary branching and sometimes into the tertiary, and you've still got some main structural stuff on, and you have to actually wrap around main structural stuff to wire out a secondary, it actually gets really cramped to try and get in there to get the wire out. So this wasn't too bad anyway. Wasn't too bad. So we'll give you a bit of a spin of this tree on the way out. Maybe I'll go a bit different. Okay, so that's the tree done. I'll do it a bit differently. This time I'll do close up first, and then I'll go back for the outro. Now, it's not quite time for mowing yet. I'll do that a bit later. So I might do one more tree first. We'll see. Okay.